Have you ever wondered why in your relationship you feel guilty? And I'm not talking about once or twice when you did something wrong and now you feel guilty. No, I'm talking about every day you feel guilty constantly and you don't even know why. Welcome to my channel on recovering from narcissistic abusive relationship. My name is Aygun. I am psychologist, but first and foremost, I am myself a survivor of narcissistic abusive relationship. In today's episode, we're going to talk about 10 aspects of how narcissists use guilt tripping to manipulate and control you. Let's dive in on the first aspect, which is manipulative language. Narcissists use manipulative language to induce guilt, framing situation in a way that makes you and others feel responsible or at fault. Exaggeration of emotions. Narcissists will exaggerate their emotional distress or their suffering, amplifying guilt on you and others, and at the same time, pressuring you and others to comply. I will give you my personal example on how narcissists use exaggeration of emotions. My ex-husband, when I was married, he used to work in school as a teacher. I think he still works, I don't know, and I'm happy about it. So at the time, I was 22 and a half, I think, and I didn't really like cooking. And the funny thing is, before we got married and before he came to my family to speak to my mom, to my dad, to propose, my mom actually mentioned this. She was like, Ayun doesn't like cooking. Are you okay with it? Because she doesn't want to cook. And my ex-husband at the time, he was like, that's not a big issue. I love cooking. Uh, it's not going to be a problem. So one day when we were married, he comes back from home and I prepared a lunch for us. I prepared the borscht. It's something like Russian food, not our Azerbaijani traditional, but it's a Russian food that he liked. I prepared the borscht for us. He didn't like the test. He didn't like the test, and that's where the exaggeration of emotions started. He started guilt tripping me with saying, you don't have respect for me. I am working so hard. I came back home and you couldn't even cook one simple meal. It doesn't have a salt. It's this, it's that. You don't care about me. And he went on and on about how that experience for him, it's ruined his not day, his life. His life is ruined because one meal that he didn't like. And by the way, it just didn't have a little bit of salt, which you can add. Okay, I didn't even like cooking, but I still cooked the lunch for him, and it was still not enough. And mind you, guilt tripping doesn't work one or two times. Even the next day, if you didn't do anything wrong, God forbid, if you didn't do anything wrong, if everything went well, they will remind you of your problem, of your fault that you did yesterday. So they will guilt trip you every day. It's a constant thing. You cannot miss it. So you will feel guilty, trust me. And yes, that's my personal example on how guilt tripping works. And exaggeration of emotion is, it's a lot. It's the end of the world. That's how bad it is. Third aspect is victimizing themselves. Narcissists portray themselves as a victim, making you and other people feeling guilty for actions and decisions that actually can be entirely reasonable. Yes, you can be reasonable and you will still feel guilty for it. Fourth aspect is playing on empathy. Narcissists will exploit empathy on you, using guilt as a tool to garner sympathy and control the narrative of the relationship. Fifth aspect is withholding affection. Narcissists will withdraw affection, attention, support, making you feel guilty for perceived inadequacies. And this is the time you will feel the most loneliest. Because let's be honest, narcissists are the best at giving affection and attention. They will go all out and about to show you how much they love you. And that's why when they withdraw that, you feel so lonely and you feel so guilty. This aspect is blame shifting. This one is the one. Narcissists deflect responsibility for their own actions, blaming you and using guilt to avoid being held accountable. Blame shifting is the best way for narcissists to get away from accountability. It's easy, it's fast, and it's also very obvious. You will see it like a bright day. You will not mix it with anything else. Seventh aspect is conditional love. Unfortunately, my dear, my friends, this will work on you if as a kid you were in a position of, or you felt like you need to deserve your mom's or your dad's love. Narcissists will use this as no other if you were in that position as a kid. And that's conditional love. How does this work? Love and approval becomes conditional on meeting the narcissist's expectations, leading to a constant cycle of guilt and seeking validation. You will constantly feel like you need narcissist validation, and you will feel guilty for not achieving that. I love this one. The eighth aspect is moral high ground. Narcissists position themselves on a moral high ground, making you and the others feel guilty for not aligning with their perceived moral standards. I will again give you my personal experience on this, not just with my ex-narcissistic husband, who were very religious, and he will make statements that his morals are and everyone is I was also recently actually dating someone who would also make statements about his morals. He wasn't very religious, but he will make statements like, oh, I would never do this, and I am this, and I am that. And that's not a problem. That's actually a good thing when people have morals. However, if you are in relationship with someone with attitude that my morals are here and everyone else here, he or she will remind you every single second, every time you make minor mistakes, he or she, they will remind you that your morals are too low and not aligned with theirs, which will also make you again feel low and feel guilty and feel like you need to catch up with them. You need to work on yourself and your morals and your values so you can be aligned with them. It's a rabbit hole. Okay, the ninth one is the dark one, and that is emotional blackmail. Narcissists will employ emotional blackmail, threatening negative consequences unless you will comply with their wishes. And example of this could be something like, if you're not gonna change that thing about yourself, how we're going to build our future? If in the future something goes wrong, you will be responsible for this. Yeah, it could be anything really, but they will blackmail you and they will remind you of this in the future, that, oh yeah, because you didn't change this, remember I told you, now we have a problem. And last but not the least, the 10th aspect is confidence. Narcissists used guilt to undermine your confidence and self-esteem, creating dependency and control within the relationship. So as far as you are having low self-esteem, narcissist is in control the entire of the relationship, and that's the actual goal. Lovely ones, I hope this episode helped you. You got your insights. I hope you made your notes, screenshots, screen records. And I hope this episode will help you to not fall into trap of a narcissist, or actually anyone toxic who use guilt tripping to control and manipulate you. I am hoping to see you on my next episode, and of course, I would really appreciate it. Motivates me and helps me to create more videos like this. Subscribe, comment, share, and let's do this. See you next time.